Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Klaus and thank you so much for tuning in, and I wanted today to let you guys know about this game that I've been playing called Immortal Conquest. Guys, I've been playing this thing for like a month now and it has been so much fun. I'm involved in the Nerds vs. Veterans charity campaign where a group of so-called and self-imposed nerds are going against some actual veterans, some actual war veterans, and we're seeing who will win. And it has been an absolute blast, guys. And as you can see, guys, at the beginning of this whole thing, the nerds, aka Nerdcore, actually started out very strong. We were on top of things. We were destroying everybody. But as time went on, the veterans, their experience, actually stood up against us and they became the dominant force, at least on the leaderboards. There was a specific moment where at the border pass called Randgrith was being postured on either side by both alliances. Tensions were building, and unexpectedly, earlier than anyone thought possible, the first Vet Div, aka the veterans, attacked and spilled their way into the nerds' land, Asgard. The members of Nerdcore fought back but were unsuccessful in preventing the veterans' advance. At the city of Sif, an important city in Asgard, which was at one point occupied by Nerdcore, a last stand battle took place for Nerdcore to hold. They were unfortunately unsuccessful, and the veterans easily occupied it. Because of a game mechanic that allows one alliance to completely occupy another simply by conquering their chief, our chief, Daydreams, chose a good player and former Legion leader, Ominous, who was located far to the east, to appoint as the new leader. Ominous turned around and immediately passed the chief title on to a member who was very close to Randgrith, allowing the veterans to occupy him and therefore occupy the entire alliance, including me. Therefore, guys, first Vet Div occupied Nerdcore. Alright guys, story time is over. Let's get into how the game works and why I think it's awesome. Alright, so here we are. This is my city. I've been building it up. It's not the greatest. There's guys on here that are much better than me, but I've tried my best to keep up. The best thing about this game is that it is not pay to win. It is literally play to win. I heard a story about a guy that dropped $400 on the game and still never got above me personally. What that proves is that this game is completely about you and how well you play the game, as well as how much time you have in putting into it. This is No Name. He has no name, but he's our enemy. He's surrounded by red and he is my neighbor, so I don't like him, don't want him to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack his district, okay? I'm gonna hit him and try to wipe him off the map. Now, you can't wipe people off the map, but whenever you do conquer them, you do take some of their resources and it's fun. So what we're gonna do is we're going to attack him using one of our armies. My best army, Iden, being the top, the rear troop, which is kind of like the leader. So we're gonna attack that using Iden. Now, if we back up and look, you can see that the army is making its way physically from my city to their city. And there is no way to physically speed up this process. I can click Iden's name on the screen, but there's no way to speed up the marching process. The only thing you can do once you set them in motion to go attack is hit that recall button and bring them back. Otherwise, everything else is automated. There's no way to speed up that process. So we're gonna go ahead and recall that because I don't really want to attack them right now. They haven't done anything to me. We're kind of buddies. But what we are gonna try to do is we're going to build ourselves a fort. Okay, so let's build a fort, and I think this is a good location for one. If I hit build on one of my green tiles and hit fortress, I'm going to need all this infrastructure: wood, iron, stone, food, of which all can be accumulated around the world by conquering tiles. Each tile gives you a specific amount of resource, but what you need is 4 hours and 30 minutes of time to build. So we're gonna hit build. I'm gonna name it video, okay, just so it's very easy to tell. It's telling me where it is. It's on a level 3 land. I'm gonna hit confirm, and there we go. So the fortress is being built. Now, the reason why you'd build a fortress is so that you can send soldiers there to attack people back and forth over and over and very quickly, instead of them having to march back to your city over and over again. But what you got here is a fortress being built, 4 hours and 30 minutes, and it cannot be sped up, guys. That is so good because it makes it a real-time battle with real-time strategy, and you don't have to worry about people cheating using in-game currency, which I think is a fantastic addition to the game. Now, I touched on this a minute ago, but what I want to mention now is the resources. You guys can see the green tiles are the ones that I own. You have the ones that don't have anything on them. Those are level 1 tiles. They only give 35 resources of each if you own them. If you own a level 2, which I've got one sitting next to it, it's actually a little bit more resources, and so on and so forth. There is a level 3, gives you 240, a level 4 gives you 580, and so on. So the higher the level of tiles, the more resources, but also the defending troops get stronger and stronger. So it is a good idea to start out small, take the level 1s, build up your armies, and then go on from there and continue to grow. Also, it's important to mention that you cannot attack a tile that you don't have a neighboring adjacent tile to. So for instance, this one, I can't attack because I have no bordering territory. So we've mentioned getting stronger. Let's talk about the gyros or heroes. It could be either one. It's spelled gyro though. So the gyros are basically your soldiers' leaders. They have specific strengths, specific weaknesses, and personality traits that you might feel completely drawn to a particular army. So let's talk about Prometheus, okay? Prometheus is one of the starters. It's one of the first ones that you get. He is a legendary, a 5-star, one of the rarer of the gyros, and he has all kinds of different, there's a lot, it's a lot to look at here, guys. This game is complex. It's so worth learning though, but it's so complex that it's so much fun to try to figure out. So what we have here, guys, is he is level 27. You start out level 1. You've got to strengthen them by taking on different tiles, taking on different armies, and leveling them, gaining experience, and that is all right there in the level there. But what we have is a lot of considerations, different skills, which we'll touch on here in a moment. I think the main 2 things you need to consider when you're looking at gyro at the beginning of the game is their role. As you can see there, the role, this guy is a tank, which means he's meant to be up in the front absorbing damage, and so you would want to place him in the front of your team, which we'll jump to in just a moment. The second thing you want to look at is their stats down here. You've got attack, you've got spirit, which is kind of like energy attacks, you've got defense, which is self-explanatory, speed, and siege, which is how much damage that gyro does to buildings, not troops. And so you can see that he has a lot of all those stats, not quite siege, but everything else is pretty decent. The green number next to it is their potential as they grow, the number of stats, the point of stats that they gain as they level up. So you can see that Prometheus is best with defense here at 2.11 points per level. So he is obviously a tank. He's got high defense, and that is definitely something you want to consider. Now let's hop over to the teams. I'll click the city button because that's where they are. They're sitting in the city, and I'll hit my second group. Prometheus is in the front. You can see him on the front side of the team there, and in the center is Merlin, who's more of a energy destroy type guy, and then you have Aphrodite, who is an archer. She sits in behind. I didn't even mention that, but as you can see, if I click Prometheus once again, next to its rarity, which is 5 out of 5 stars, you have cavalry, okay? Cavalry, the horse head, is one of 3, and I've got a little diagram I'm going to throw up on the screen here. We have it's a triangle, and as you can see, it's like a rock paper scissors situation. Prometheus is cavalry, which means he is strong against infantry but weak to archers. Infantry is weak to cavalry but strong to archers, and archers are strong against cavalry but weak to infantry. So it's kind of something to consider. If you know your opponents are all infantry, you might want to create an army that is all cavalry. So coming back to Prometheus here, he is cavalry, and the Merlin is completely infantry. Aphrodite is completely archery. You can see that by the little icon at the bottom right hand side of each card. So it's, guys, the game is very complex just in the case of which gyro you choose to put on which team. If I click over to the left here, all 3 of these are archers. I chose to have just all archers because I've had a lot of archers. But another thing to consider, and I'll use Gaia as a good example, are these skills. As you can see on the far right hand side, you've got level 7, the golden circle, Earth Guard. Earth Guard, if you click that, brings up all kinds of information about the skills. I'll let you read on those when you can, but the main thing to consider is actually what it does. Does it do spirit damage? Does it do regular attack damage? What type of skill is this? Now, if you read through this, Earth Guard is actually a spirit type of attack, and that's Gaia's special skill. So it would be good, it would be smart of us to add stats into spirit as she levels up, and you get to do that every 10th level. You gain extra points you get to allocate to certain statistics. Now, staying back on Gaia, there is even more. I told you guys this is a complex game, and you might want to watch this video a few times to catch up, because it took me weeks to finally understand all this. But what you have here are skills, and as you saw there, it's level 7. At the bottom of that screen there is the button that says upgrade. You can actually upgrade not only your gyro, but also the skills they have to make their skills better. And in this case, you need skill XP, which in this case, I don't have enough skill XP to upgrade that skill. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit convert. All right. Now, you're brought to this big menu, and this big menu is basically explaining how this skill XP thing works. What you get to do is you get to take these gyro that you have summoned, and I happen to have a lot, just to show you guys. You have a lot of gyro that you get to break down. You get to burn these gyro cards in order to gain experience to put forth into skills. Now, you might not always want to do that. Make sure that you understand what gyro you are breaking down. So for instance, Echidna here. Echidna has this skill, Cunning, but if you dismantle, bottom right hand corner, you can actually dismantle cards and take skills from them. So that's really a good thing. You want to be able to accumulate skills because certain gyro work better with certain skills. All that aside, I'll let you do the research on that yourself. But dismantling to gain skills, dismantling to gain experience. Let's go ahead and dismantle to gain experience. We'll go ahead and do that. Use 30 gold. That gave us 50 more experience. And if I go back into Gaia, hit the Earth Guard button, now you can see we've actually got 74 skills. We gained a bonus because the game loves us. So if you do that enough, as you can see, to go to level 8, it costs 1,209 experience. Over time, as you dismantle cards, you accumulate the skill XP, and you can allocate it to whatever skill you want to use it for. Guys, that was a very fast and condensed version of how to play this game, taking tiles, resource management. Of course, again, you've got wood, iron, stone, and food. You've also got gold, which can be used to summon all kinds of different gyro to use to either break down for skills or break down for skill experience or use in your armies. It's such a complex game, guys. If you want more information, let me know down in the comments section. I will absolutely be able to answer questions or make more videos on the subject if you're playing and if you're enjoying it. But I love this game. You don't have to pay a bunch of money to be good. All you have to do is play, and that's the best thing. It's a real-time strategy for real-time battle, and in my opinion, it's absolutely awesome. I challenge you to challenge yourself and your brain and download Immortal Conquest.